what we believe we're creating is temperatures approaching 2 trillion degrees centigrade. That's 100,000 times hotter than the interior of the sun. It's hotter than a supernova explosion. It's hotter than the surface of a black hole. It's hotter than a neutron star. Like, we believe nowhere in the universe is at that temperature. It was last that temperature in the universe 1 microsecond, 1 billionth of a second after the Big Bang.
It's as if they are running the universe in reverse, taking us back to an instant when it was extremely hot and dense. Creating a black hole, it seems, will take even more energy than that. In fact, more than any Earthbound collider can pack. That is, unless there's more to our universe and to gravity than we thought.
Our injection efficiency looks good. The orbit looks good. Orbit RMS is under 2 millimeters in each plane.
Einstein's theory of general relativity is the one that we find in all the textbooks, and it's the one that we're all sort of pledged to defend, but it would be rash to say it's the last word on the subject of gravitation. And there are certainly alternative theories around, and some of them are quite popular. And some of these theories, these are non-standard theories of gravitation, predict that you could make a black hole by colliding together subatomic particles.
Some scientists believe they may be able to create one at a new and more powerful system in Europe called the Large Hadron Collider. The key lies in whether the world we know is part of a more complex cosmic reality, beyond the 3 spatial dimensions plus time that we experience in our everyday lives. If so, we would be like insects living on the 2-dimensional surface of a pond, unaware of the deep and complex reality below it.
That we can be living on the surface of the pond, happily minding our own business, but not realizing that underwater, something, say a fish underwater, could be swimming through the water, causing disturbances that probably up to where we are. We could feel it happening, we could essentially see our universe around us changing, but we look around for the cause of it and we won't know what it is.
The idea is that a number of extra dimensions actually intersect our world.
10, 12 pi.
Okay.
When particles collide at very high energies, those extra dimensions enhance the gravitational force between the particles, enough to create a micro black hole.
Look good.
The scientists will know a black hole is there when they see the shower of particles predicted by Hawking's theory. And for a moment, that will open a window to a deeper cosmic reality. The very idea that we could tap into this underlying realm shows how rich black hole research has become. Einstein's theory showed how black holes can generate extreme energies, cause the universe to wobble and bend, and twist up into knots. The recognition that black holes are fundamental to the workings of our universe is a major discovery of science in our time. And if it turns out that they do have a finite lifetime, their death will signal the end of our universe. By some estimates, the time horizon of the largest black holes goes out to a Google years. Take a 1 and add 100 zeros to it. That's an unfathomable spread of time, but it's far short of forever. The clock may well be ticking on our universe. The alarm will sound when the last black hole explodes.
4 light tea and rose bubble teas.
Yes.
3 ginger kombuchas.
Yeah.
And
And
a chocolate matcha brownie. Chocolate brownie. Uber Eats, bring it.
A fury is building on the surface of the sun. Jets of superhot gas, towering waves of fire. The most violent explosions in our solar system. Science is now taking us on an extraordinary journey into our star.
Motion detected at the front door.
To explore the power
Motion detected at the front door.
of solar superstorms. We think of the sun as a constant, a tranquil vision eternal. And yet, beneath the calm, a storm is gathering force. It's September 1st, the year 1859. The English astronomer Richard Carrington notes signs of turbulence rising across the surface of our star. It's the beginning of one of the most violent solar outbursts on record. Searing jets fall tens of thousands of kilometers into space. Vast roiling towers of superhot gas billow upward. Temperatures soar to millions of degrees Celsius. Amid the turmoil, a strange dark region appears. A cluster of sunspots, now estimated to have been 20 times the size of Earth. From this region, the sun erupts in what scientists call a coronal mass ejection. Over 1 billion tons of solar particles head in our direction. Based on the timing of Carrington's observations, scientists now estimate that the solar blast traveled at over 8 million kilometers per hour. Observers around the world greeted its arrival as day dissolved to night. solar particles excited oxygen and nitrogen molecules in the upper atmosphere, turning the night aglow. The northern and southern lights are usually visible only at the poles. That night, they stretched all the way to the tropics. Watching from a campsite in the Colorado Rockies, a journalist described an auroral light so bright that one could easily read common print.
It's 10 o'clock. This is Sky News at 10, our top story. Tax cuts from the Chancellor, but there's a warning that living standards are set to fall to their lowest level for 70 years.
My tax plan delivers the biggest net cut to personal taxes of a century.
There's a 5p cut in the cost of fuel, but businesses say the measures fall far short of what's needed. And as inflation soars, there's criticism that those suffering the most from the cost of living squeeze will get the least support. Also tonight, President Biden arrives in Europe as the US accuses Russia of committing war crimes in Ukraine, and Moscow refuses to back away from its nuclear threat.
If Russia is provoked by NATO, if Russia is attacked by NATO, I don't know. So we are nuclear power. Why not?
From Mariupol, a city of ashes where 100,000 people remain trapped without power, water or food, we hear a remarkable tale of survival. We're ready to move on from our shared history, the Prime Minister of Jamaica's blunt message to the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge. And we'll take a first look at tomorrow's front pages in our press preview from 10:30. So good evening. The Chancellor pitched it as a bold series of tax cuts designed to address the cost of living crisis and the impact of the war in Ukraine. But it came on a day when inflation reached its highest level for a generation. And Rishi Sunak also delivered a stark warning that the economy and public finances are likely to get significantly worse. Today's mini-budget did see some concessions, a rise in levels before which people start paying national insurance and a cut to fuel duty. But Labour accused Mrs Sunak of opting for the wrong measures at the wrong time. Well, the Chancellor's first big announcement was to cut fuel duty by 5p until March next year. Homeowners installing heat pumps, insulation and solar panels will pay zero VAT for the next 5 years. He resisted calls to cancel a planned increase in national insurance contributions, but the threshold at which people start paying will increase by £3,000. Unusually, Rishi Sunak also pre-announced a future tax cut, saying income tax will be reduced from 20 to 19 pence in the pound by 2024. There was sober news on the state of the economy, though, with the rate of growth, the GDP forecast, downgraded from 6% to just 3.8%. And the statement was delivered just hours after inflation reached a 30-year high of 6.2%. Our first report tonight comes from our political editor, Beth Rigby.
A mini budget, but this a generational crisis. Inflation at a level not seen for 3 decades, and it's going to get worse.
Is there more pain to come, Chancellor?
Rishi Sunak under pressure to meet the scale of this moment, armed with a statement that for so many will decide if they can heat their homes and feed their families.
Rishi Sunak.
From COVID to cost of living, the emergency chancellor promising to step in again.
People should know that we will stand by them as we have throughout the last 2 years. Today, I can announce for only the second time in 20 years, fuel duty will be cut. Not by 1, not even by 2, but by 5 pence per litre. The biggest cut to all fuel duty rates ever.
A year-long cut on fuel duty, Labour bench is unimpressed. But the big reveal's still to come, easing the pain on the April national insurance hike.
Our current plan is to increase the NICS threshold this year by £300. But I'm not going to do that, Mr. Speaker,